Sunday in Jerusalem begins with a city in a trance of adoration. The people line the streets, not just for a man, but for a projection of every hope, political desire, and dream of rescue they've carried for generations. But 5 days later, that same demographic stands in a dark courtyard, unified by a single violent demand for that man's execution. This timeline represents a total systemic reversal of a city's psychology. In 120 hours, a hero was successfully recategorized as a villain. Beyond its religious weight, this event offers a uniquely preserved record of human behavior, a case study in how social pressure dismantles the individual. Examining this transition forces us to look past the history and toward our own reflection. It suggests that our internal moral compass is far more sensitive to the gravity of the group than we care to admit. To understand the breakdown, we have to look at what the crowd was waiting for. They were primed for a specific archetype, a military conqueror who would finally use force to break the Roman occupation. The first crack in their loyalty appears when the supposed warrior ignores the Romans entirely. Instead, he focuses his criticism inward, challenging the city's own religious and social structures. This creates a painful internal friction. When a leader's actions directly contradict the crowd's rigid expectations, the adoration doesn't just fade, it begins to curdle into a sense of betrayal. By Thursday night, the heroic image is shattered. He is arrested without a fight, bound, and led away in silence. In the psychology of a crowd obsessed with strength, a leader captured without a miracle has lost his right to be followed. When a group feels let down by their hero, they don't return to neutrality. The energy is redirected into active resentment, seeking a target to blame for their unmet hopes. As a power vacuum opens, the religious leadership moves to fill it. Instead, they act as organizers of the city's identity, seizing the crowd's confusion and giving it a new, common enemy. They start the process by strictly curating the environment. The crowd in the courtyard at 6 a.m. isn't the whole city. It is a specific, sleep-deprived subset of people gathered under the direct observation of their superiors. Humans are biologically wired to defer to authority. The sight of the high priests in their official robes, the recognized experts of the law, the visual immediately tells the observers that this prisoner is an unredeemable criminal before a single piece of evidence is heard. In a dense, pressurized group, the boundaries of the self begin to blur. Individuals stop thinking as independent agents and start identifying primarily as parts of the collective. This creates a sense of safety in numbers. If everyone is shouting for a death, the weight of that choice is spread so thin that no single person feels the burden of guilt. Rhythmic, unified chanting is a powerful biological tool. It engages ancient parts of the brain, making critical analysis difficult to maintain. As shouting intensifies, the brain's logic centers go quiet, while regions governing emotion and fear take command of the person's actions. By the time the final verdict is reached, the crowd has become a single organism. The independent individual has been temporarily replaced by a fear-driven group mind. Once the peak of emotional arousal passes, a cooling period begins. As people walk away from the scene, the collective trance breaks, and the reality of their individual participation begins to sink in. The biological machinery that drove that crowd in the streets of Jerusalem is the same system that operates within us today. We see the same architecture in modern political rallies and the surges of digital cancel culture. The faces change, but the emotional contagion and the drive for group conformity remain identical. Today's digital algorithms play the role of the ancient agitators, curating specific outrages and trapping us in echo chambers that make the voice of the mob feel like the only voice of truth. Our only defense is the deliberate exercise of critical thought, the willingness to step back from the chant and risk the social isolation that comes with standing alone. Because history shows that most of us would have been shouting, which leaves only one question: who are you in the crowd?